how nice is that graphic?
Very nice.
How many hours did it take to pay for it? How many hours did it take to make it?
There was at least a 30-minute discussion
on Fiverr for like $50 from Czechoslovakia. Anyway, welcome to CLTFC Fan TV for the fans, by the fans. Damn it. So we have ourselves, which is Jorge Gonzalez, Top Ben 90, holding it down. Lee, CLTFC Fan TV originator, OG. Myself, JT, kind of newbie fan / I don't know. And tonight we have our special guest. Y'all got to realize one thing. This is a position that has never existed in media or in sports or in whatever it is with fan interaction. It's great. It's Sean McIntosh.
Thank you, fellas. Thank you. I'm excited to be on it. It's an honor.
Man, it's going to be an honor over and over again. He is the chief fan officer, the CFO all day. So, Sean, Lee.
Welcome, man. Welcome to Charlotte.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here, man. It's been a long journey and excited to call Charlotte home now.
Just a quick shout out to my son, Liam. Hey, buddy. Yeah, so Charlotte, you just arrived, Monday, right?
My wife, my son, and our English bulldog, we actually got here last Friday. So moved in over the weekend, still in that process. But we are here. We're excited. Started work officially on Monday, and the big announcement, of course, was on Tuesday.
Yes, for sure.
What's the dog's name?
The
dog's name is Barkley. He's an English bulldog. He's
named
awesome.
Ross?
He's an eight-year-old English bulldog.
Is he named after Ross Barkley?
Or the Barkley?
He's named after Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley. Okay. Yeah. Well, there's a whole nother sport that we can get into.
Bulldogs are kind of chunky. That makes sense. I get it.
Yeah. So, we met with you yesterday at the event, right? And rumor has it was you couldn't tell anybody you were leaving, or so just tell us a little bit. Why don't you go ahead and just give us a little bit of your background, what you did before you came to Charlotte and that sort of thing, Sean.
Yeah, so I like to think it's a pretty extensive background. I've been in the pro sports industry now for 12, 13 years. Started my career in the American Hockey League with the Norfolk Admirals, and I was a kid out of college, had my master's degree, and wanted to break into this industry. Had the opportunity to take on an internship. From there, ultimately turned into a full-time position. Worked my way up to oversee their game operations. So when I left, I was their director of game operations and group sales manager. Took a position in the NBA and WNBA with the Phoenix Suns and Phoenix Mercury. That was my first taste of major professional sports. And then from there, I had the fortune of going into the sport that I grew up following in soccer with the Houston Dynamo in Major League Soccer. I spent 4 years there before taking on a really unique opportunity working with MGM Resorts International, who had bought, purchased, and then launched the Las Vegas Aces in Las Vegas for the WNBA, and got to work on that incredible opportunity before moving back home, back with the Norfolk Admirals, where I took over as their chief revenue officer, overseeing the entire business. So everything non-player focused what fell under my umbrella. And then, of course, this was just something for me too good, too exciting, really right up my alley. And I've said it, a dream job. So something that I'd been in talks with this organization for a long time. So was excited to obviously get the call up, go through an interview process, and ultimately, I'm here and I'm excited.
Yeah. So you mentioned. Go ahead, JT.
I just to piggyback on that is I'm really curious since it's a brand new position as far as we can understand. There's no other CFO the way they're doing with the fan officer anywhere in sports media or wherever. How did you first even see the application? And when you first saw it, when you first read the job description, I mean, what were your first impressions of it? Like, and then to now on the other end, like, I got the job, but like, what were your first impressions when you saw what this was?
Yeah. So, and look, I'm not BSing. This is
He's not bullshitting,
this is accurate.
He's
He's
not
not
bullshitting.
bullshitting.
Look,
Nobody is
honestly,
bullshitting.
everybody, I had been sent this opportunity from a number of friends in the industry that were like, this has your name written all over for it. I swear this job description is handcrafted for you, and it was, and so it was, and it's such a unique position, and what excites me about it is that ultimately, whoever was going to be in this role was going to craft it in a way that best suit them and their personality and their skill set. So I'm excited about driving what this position ultimately looks like. And because I've got that background in different areas of sports, I think I bring a lot to the table, more than, because this position isn't just about being a fan. And I think that's what folks have to remember and understand. Like, this isn't about just sitting in the stands and rooting for Charlotte FC. There's a lot of work. So, it's a dream job, a keyword job. So for me, I like to think that I bring in a wealth of knowledge just from, how long I've been in and the success I've had in my career. So I'm excited to bring that to this role.
Sean, Matt, bringing job skills for the fans.
Yes. So, Sean, right. So I guess, Monday you came in, you got your password to your PC, you got introduced to everybody, you checked your email. Yeah. Yeah. Yesterday, you had the event that we went to, right, to kind of meet and greet, and you've been out with some of the supporters groups and that kind of thing. And then this morning you were on WFMZ. Is it WFMZ? Is that right? Sports Radio.
Yep.
And so tomorrow, obviously, you got nothing going on except for the party at the game, right? So, what's the first thing you're going to do, or are you going to start to try to do or implement? What's your thoughts? Where are you sort of on the piece of paper where you've been scratching down your notes? Like, where do you think you're heading?
Yeah, look, a lot of this job, there are clearly it's twofold. It's working with our fans and then internal. So, when you don't see me out and about, that means I'm working internal with our team. Whether that's marketing, communications, community relations, sales, sponsorship, Nick. So for me, that's a lot of what I have been doing in between. Media appearances and talking to fans and meeting supporters. Been today was a prime example. I'm on radio at 7 something in the morning, and then I've got meetings right away. At Bank of America Stadium, in our offices, meeting with internal stakeholders, talking about things that we're doing and processes and understanding, and then taking some of that and making my suggestions right away. Like, hey, here's some things that immediately I've heard, and then just some of my own intuition and suggestions based on best practices that I know. So again, it's a lot of working internally with folks, and then already hitting the ground running and meeting and hearing from fans. Because believe me, as soon as they made this announcement, you can already imagine everybody's hitting me up on every form of social media and email and phone calls. So it's been pretty hectic and busy, but I've had a lot of fun already.
Right. Look at that. Did you see Sean's smile when he said everyone was hitting him up on everything?
Yeah. Did we lose him?
Seriously, so you just watch it. You really gave a big smile when you did that, because obviously it's so exciting to see it come to fruition.
Yeah. So What's the one thing that everybody's sort of hitting you up? What's the top of the list other than the PSLs?
Yeah.
I think it's just it's been a lot of just well wishes. I'll be honest. Like everybody's been and it's funny you bring up PSLs, but I probably only got like 2 or 3 people that even mentioned that. So tells me a lot of yeah. I mean, look, it's been a pretty remarkable response from everybody, and as corny as it is, like I'm just getting like well wishes from people that are excited. So and we've had talks, with supporters last night. Case in point, had an opportunity to meet multiple different supporters groups, sitting down with them, breaking bread, having a beer, talking. The biggest thing is time crunch. We're 5 months away, and so really keying in on establishing some of those routines, those traditions. What are that going to look like? I'm hoping to make it out to some MLS matches myself, here in the next few weeks, to get out and learn and understand what some of the best teams are doing in terms of processes. So not even just the fun stuff, but like how are they executing that fun stuff? So that's really for me some of the major stuff, and of course meeting with our stadium, and making sure that we can execute these ideas that we all have, and making sure it looks really good.
Right on.
Hold on, I just want to pull out. I love the phrase "executing the fun stuff." However, we can help you execute, as in make it happen, fun stuff. Yeah. We're all there. Jorge, I know you got a question.
No, I'm just listening in a little bit. I think one of the things that the club to me seems to try to do, and even like with today's announcement, is like we want to be very innovative. So my thing is like I'm hoping what Sean wants to bring also is an innovative way of engaging on the atmosphere during games. So what will that look like? Because I feel like the club has talked a lot about that, and I'm interested to see like what you'll actually execute, or like what kind of ideas you might bring. So that's what
I mean, along those lines, Jorge, one of the things I was saying yesterday to some of the groups was for us to make sure that we're not copying anybody. And I know a lot of times, especially in this league, it can be, it can be a little bit of a copycat league. People see something and it sounds cool, or whether it's a chant or a tradition, and you try and mimic it, maybe slightly make it your own. But I want us to think outside of the box and be really unique and have something that is completely ours. And so looking beyond just Major League Soccer, and honestly looking beyond this sport even, and seeing what some of the best experiences outside of soccer look like, and seeing if there's a unique way for us to do something with our own spin on it completely. So I don't want to pigeonhole us into seeing and hearing what other teams in our league are doing. I want to make sure that, I'm sure you guys seen it, right? There's like a regurgitation of a couple chants, and that teams will maybe change like the team name. And so I don't want to do that. But ultimately, again, the biggest part of this position is working together. I also don't want to dictate and hand our supporters a sheet of paper that's like, here are our chants, because that's not authentic either.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think at least Mint City that I know of, right? They've got like a chant channel in their Slack, but they're trying to come up with some pretty cool chants. And then I'm assuming at some point we'll be in the stadium, kind of preparing for game day, right? I don't want to say practicing, but kind of going through that. So, so you kind of walk a fine line, right? Because you got to keep us happy on this side, and then you got to keep DT and Nick and everybody happy on that side. So, I guess it's a hard line to walk. Like Wesley was asking, and that's kind of where I was going, is like, what do you see as the biggest challenge of your new role?
I mean, look, I already understand that not everybody's going to be happy. So that's that's just life. Like, right. Like every single team, it doesn't matter. I mean, your team can sign your favorite player and you can be the most excited person in the world. And you could be shocked to know that there's like 1,000 other people that hate that signing. So, for me, it's just always going to be about understanding that. And part of it's building this relationship. Nobody knows who I am right now. I don't expect people to, completely trust me. I hope that builds over time, and things aren't going to always go your way, right? Like things aren't always going to be the way that fans want, but I hope they understand that I'm voicing those concerns, that is being heard by the club. And ultimately, my responsibility is to make sure that, yes, fans' voices are heard, but ultimately making sure this club is healthy. And sometimes that means that fans may not always get exactly what they want all the time, and so it's always going to be balancing that too. So, I'm a fan. Like, I get it. Like, my teams do things that I wish they would do differently sometimes, but
Right.
I know that that's not always going to happen.
Right.
Sean, can you talk about to kind of reiterate on the back end, the reporting structure? Because I remember when we first got the idea of this position, which again, everybody out there, CFO, Chief Fan Officer, let's see if I can do it right. Only one in the world right here, as far as we can figure it out. Only one in the world. The innovator, Sean McIntosh, the innovator of the CFO. But let them understand that it's not some tearing up through marketing. It's not some gimmick. DT, David Tepper, and Nick Kelly, the president. I mean, your office is right there. You report directly to Nick, I assume. Can you let them know how the back end communication happens?
Yeah, I report directly into Nick, into the president. And I think, again, looking at, I think it's important because you bring up a really great point, JT. This isn't just a fluff position this isn't a marketing gimmick. You look at my background, I've got over a decade plus of experience. I ran a professional sports organization. I left a role as a chief revenue officer, president of organization. So, I'm somebody that likes to think that I carry a little bit of weight. So I report directly to the president. So, I have no problem making my voice heard, and making sure, I get my say. So it's working together. Again, for me, it's working with everybody at our club and our fans. So it is that unique role and balance because I am working for the fans and for the club.
Yeah, and again, right, that's what goes back to the original, or my last comment was just walking that fine line, right? Trying to not piss off the boss and also trying not to piss off us fans because Twitter can get nasty, as we saw some moron yesterday decided to tweet some shit, and we had to shut that down. So, anyways, right?
Appreciate it, but look, that's how you've made it, right? Like I've got some hate out there. So
you've been christened
on day one or day 1.5 at least, right?
Yeah, it was day one. I haven't done anything yet. But we'll see what happens when I do mess up.
Oh yeah, trust me, we'll let you know. So, Benjamin's asking, or AKA Soccer Goose is asking, what do you see as your top priorities on your first 100 days on the job?
Yeah, so a lot of it's already begun is meeting and talking to our supporters, and then most importantly is establishing these processes. And I know it doesn't sound fun, but it's a lot of the logistics because that's the execution part. So making sure that logistically we can execute these fan experiences. And so I mentioned that's going to be me going out to other stadiums and figuring out how they go about doing some of these things, and that we're doing them well, and that we, pretty quickly we need to get some of our traditions rolling, and so those are the things for me that's really, really important. And then working with, look, every piece of the organization has something to do with fans. right? Whether it's ticket sales, sponsorship, marketing, all of it. And so making sure that I have that opportunity, like, I mean, again, today I had a meeting, and I was that jerk that extended that meeting probably a little bit too long because I had so many questions. So just understanding the things that we're currently doing, so that I'm making recommendations after recommendations. And I'm sure everybody was like, dude, it's your second day, chill out.
Right, we're trying to go to lunch.
Yeah. So it's a lot of that. So it's that stuff that, again, that's the work. That's the process. That's not the sexy stuff, but that's the stuff that we got to think about.
Yeah, but that sexy stuff is going to get you seriously. If your job, a brand new job like this, is now in the near future traveling to all the best MLS soccer parties, because the whole idea of let's party, but you're going to all these different locations to see what they do and meet people and greet, and it's definitely work. But my gosh, that sounds like a great position, just to roll around and say, how do they party here in Austin or in Seattle or whatever? That's a really good thing. Let's do that here.
It's fun. Still a lot of work, man. I look.
I know.
Yeah, a lot of hangovers to nurse.
I'm not saying it's not, but once you physically get there,
it's like a wedding, right? Like a wedding is a big party, but I'm married. I went through a wedding. I was pretty excited to get past that because it was a whole lot of work to plan it. It's fun, it's exciting, but it's definitely a grind to plan.
Well, actually, just real quick on the nuance of that, do you have any team underneath you, or do you have people that can work with you? Because it means such a unique position. Do you have connection? Obviously you do, but do you have any assistants, anything like that?
Yeah, those are things that we're actually in the process of finalizing, in terms of like somebody that's a little bit more direct, but everybody is working to make this successful. So I can't tell you the names of everybody that I've met with yet, because it's like everybody, and so it's literally marketing, communications, everybody that falls in line in sponsorship. They've all been incredible about supporting me nonstop and making sure that I've got the resources, the help. They're answering questions, they're helping me. So yeah, I have a full team that has made sure that we're going to be successful.
Great, full steam ahead.
Yeah. So starting off on the job, right? Obviously, you kind of had ideas before you jumped in, and what sort of have you? You mentioned you were in a meeting and you had all these questions, and you run over, and everybody's lunch got ruined and everything else. So, what kind of recommendations, if any, have you floated out there?
So I don't want to go too specific yet, because they're just ideas, and I don't want to promise anything. But things along the lines of creating our identity, and the question of who are we, and I've talked about this with some of the guys with the supporters groups, and we talk about a beacon. What is our light? So everything that we do, I want to make sure it's consistent and it's quote unquote on brand, but it's something that's our guiding light, and that's for all of us. So when we talk on social media, from like the tifos to the chants to the way that we behave to what our brand looks like, it should all be a little bit unified, and it should all have this voice, that all points in one direction, so that when people see it, hear it, they know it's Charlotte FC. And that's what I want, is this unique identity that, because I think that's, when you think about some of the clubs that, aren't that successful, or they don't necessarily have that strong identity. It's very blah, like, I don't know what they are, who they are.
Exactly. So what's the best way for like a fan to reach out to you? Do they need to funnel it through the supporters group sort of their hierarchy, or are you going to have like a phone number, like a hotline? You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
no,
hey,
they can reach me. Chief Fan Officer at Charlotte FC. That's the easiest way. You can shoot me an email. Obviously, I'm on Twitter as well, so you can shoot me a note on Twitter. I'll do my best to get back to as many people as possible. I'm sure it'll slow down and make it a little bit easier.
right.
But I've done my best to already answer every message.
It's Chief Fan Officer.
Yeah, at charlottefootballclub.com.
Y'all need to get it down just the CFO, man. If
It's a long email.
I know. Listen. Whoever out there with the club, because I know Sean can't ask. He made the meeting run over. He can't. It's his second day. Get it to CFO at charlottefc.com. You don't need Chief Fan Officer. That's too long. If you couldn't do it, you couldn't do it. I understand. But my gosh. Come on.
Sean, I'm curious a little bit on your thoughts on the MLS. I mean, you have 4 years of experience with Houston Dynamo. I mean, this is a very a growing league. We've got a lot of exciting young players that are coming in. We also have a lot of young, exciting managers. I mean, Miguel is one of them.
For real.
What are your thoughts on the MLS, and where do you see the MLS going?
So, I love when people ask me that, because it's a growing league, and I think right now the wave that you see with this league, it's kind of shifted away from that quote unquote retirement league. Yep. Where people were investing heavily in aging superstars, for sure. They're definitely stars, but I think what you've seen, and I think that it's now going in a direction that's a little bit more sustainable, that lends itself to real growth, and ultimately that's going to help continue making steps forward, is that investment in younger players, certainly skilled young players, that and the nuance about soccer and football is the business side of it that's so unique, the transfers, and a lot of times your summer transfer talk can be a lot more exciting than maybe what your club ends up doing on the pitch. And so, you've seen now those investments in some of those younger players that turn into stars that can then be sold, and like any club, MLS or around the world, when you sell a player like that, you hope you reinvest it to make your squad even better. So that's just something so unique that's always really fascinated me. So I think that direction now is probably the best direction for this league. Not to say that the league's not going to, bring in stars when they have the opportunity to, but I think it's probably smarter to invest in some of those. And from a marketing standpoint, sometimes it can be a challenge because, again, something that's so unique about this sport is the player pool is so big that there is nobody. I mean, nobody. I'm a fan of this game, and you can start listing off players that play in Argentina, and I'd be like, I couldn't tell you. Like, there's nobody that can tell you, all of these players. So, you talk about some of these players, and you have no idea who they are, but then they become stars, and you can be excited about them. Like, nobody would have known who Joseph Martinez was when he came into the league, right? Like, a couple of people, like I happen to know him because he played at Torino in Serie A, but he became something. And so, when he's brought into MLS, people are like, oh, now, any team that has an opportunity to sign him would take that over and over again. So, it's one of those things that I think the league's moving in a much better direction.
Nice.
Yeah, I % with that. And you mentioned, the players and that sort of thing. So it kind of segues over to our part with our new signing that's not been announced officially. Do you know much about him at all? As the club allowed you to maybe drop the ball right here now?
So I'll be honest. On anything player wise, acquisitions, potential signings, like head in the clouds right there. Like, it being my second day, like I haven't had any opportunity to be involved on that side.
Lee, it's his second day.
I'm just saying he doesn't know the rules yet. We might get some breaking news right here and now.
Norfolk over here.
Yeah, he can play the new guy with us and drop some names, and we're all good.
The whole time,
I wish I knew. But yeah, I unfortunately don't. Not that like I would have any pull right now, to be able to say, hey, sign this guy. Yeah, I'd be super biased and would be talking about trying to sign every Italian national team player.
No, well, we won't talk about the Italian national team in this channel.
Tough day. Yeah. Well, it was a tough one for me anyways. We got dominated by Spain in Nations League. A made up tournament anyways.
Right. We all have our excuses. So Benjamin asked another good question. He said, was there anything about Charlotte that kind of made you want to come here, or was it just like the opportunity of, the position itself and kind of a new role and starting out?
Yeah, great question, Benjamin. Again, I'm going to tell a little bit of a corny story. So this was even probably before I got to Houston. I wanted to break into Major League Soccer and work in the sport that I grew up playing and I had such a passion for. And my family, when we moved from Italy, they settled down in Virginia Beach. My wife is from Norfolk, Virginia. And so I kid you not, this isn't lip service. This isn't some fairy tale story. I always told myself if Charlotte got an MLS team, that's my dream job. Like I want to be in Charlotte. That would be, in contentions. Obviously, they had this long list of all these potential cities, and I was like, all right, if Charlotte, got a team, that's where I would want to be. And lo and behold, Charlotte gets announced, as a franchise, which was really, really cool. Because again, I didn't think that would happen. And so, there we go. The city that would give me an opportunity to be close to home in the sport that I love, got a franchise. And from the moment it was announced, and I know probably one of the biggest hang-ups maybe for some fans is like, I'm not local, I'm not from Charlotte, or how can he be like the chief fan officer? And he's like, I've been a fan of this club. Yeah, well, but I've been a fan of this club since before it was announced. And then when it was announced, I was like, I've got my MLS team, and immediately, I'm trying to find a way to get here. So this club hasn't even played its first match yet, so there's not a ton of people that have been fans for that long. So I'm probably close to being as tenured of a fan as most.
We've been fans for life. We're Charlotte FC fans for life, man.
Sean, let me just say this, because you've been wanting to get here. Well, Sean, you have arrived. You are here, bud. You did it. Bye.
I'm happy to be home.
Yeah. And another good thing is Bojangles is sponsoring the team now. So, man, you get some great Bojangles biscuits.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you got it made over there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So the club broke some news today, right, about this reality TV show. And, we've kind of talked about some things. I talked with Woody, I believe Top Ben's talked with Woody too, and just kind of get a better understanding of what it is. What do you know about it, and what can you say about it?
Yeah, obviously it's something that's been in the works. I'm not that good at my job that, a couple days into it and voila, there's this incredible new series out. So that obviously is the hard work of everybody here before I got here.
Right.
What I know is that as a fan, it's pretty exciting, just because anytime your club has an opportunity to have more exposure, I think it's awesome, because it's going to give fans a little bit of a peek behind the curtain into some of the processes that go along with selecting a roster and what it takes to make a team. And that's really exciting. So, honestly, I don't know what exactly it's going to look like. I just know it's going to be pretty cool for fans to be able to have that inside look.
Yeah, I think the biggest fear, at least what I'm seeing, and Jorge, speak up here, is like a lot of people are worried that, one, it's going to distract from Zoran and co. And then two, is the roster spot gets killed. And then three, just, some people are just saying it's cheesy and typical Charlotte FC, and y'all can all kiss that.
So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, in my personal opinion, I mean, the most important thing, it's great that we're doing a lot of innovative things like the chief fan officer, like the reality. The reality, though, for me is that the success has to come on the pitch. Because at the end of the day, this is a soccer club, right? And I think this will add to it. So I'll give you an example. Like there's a Netflix series on Formula One called Drive to Survive. And like I never had any interest in racing at all. Like I went to one NASCAR thing and I was like, I'm never coming to this again. No hate if you love NASCAR, that's for you. Cool. I was like, bro, this isn't for me. But then I watched that documentary and you know what? Like it really appealed to me. And I was like, yo, like I gotta get out to like a Formula One race. Because I just
Jorge, I'm glad you bring that up. That one of my really good friends, shout out Ian Davis. We were at a wedding together a couple weeks ago, and he specifically brought up that show, and I haven't seen it yet because he's like he's waking up in the morning watching Formula One, and I was like, "Who are you?" And he was like, "Yo, this Netflix doc got me addicted."
It's called Drive to Survive. But I'm saying, like, we have the opportunity if it's presented right. And if it's done well for you to not, because one of the things Woody mentioned is like, we're not only scouting people here, it's an international thing. Imagine like some kids in Italy become Charlotte FC fans because they really like this documentary. So you have that as a platform, and it's also very innovative. With like a lot of the stuff that the club is doing is very innovative. And so I think if it's done properly and well, it's actually a bonus to the club. But if the club does horrible the first season, guess what people are going to throw shade at? The reality. Like, oh, they're focused on doing reality shows instead of actually focusing on the club, right? So like that's where like success on the pitch, I think, also
and here's how I would address that is ultimately everybody has their lane with a club. So you've got your sporting, your technical staff, and you've got your business and branding folks, and everybody is doing their jobs, and everybody's professional, so they know what they're supposed to do, and those things. I don't know that I believe, but you're right. Look, if a team struggles, I'm sure they're going to point to things that may not necessarily be correlated with those struggles, but I think your point is spot on, Jorge. Anytime you can have an opportunity to bring exposure, and I mentioned it, the unique thing about this sport is how much business affects on pitch. And so if you can grow your fan base, your exposure internationally, clubs like Manchester United can continue to have talented rosters because of their global approach, their branding, the sponsors, all of that, because they have more money to spend. A PSG has more money to spend because of all of those extra things, and it all matters in building a brand and building a club. So, but for me in my world where I'm thinking about fans and experience, again, like that's awesome as a fan. Like I want to see my club get that exposure. I want to see and learn a little bit more about what happens. So, I'm all for it. I think it's something fans should be pretty excited about.
And what I would say too is that, since this is something we're building that's brand new, I mean, yes, maybe, I don't know, third year, fourth year, I don't know how it works out really, but if everyone's sucking it up and they still have some sort of reality show, so be it. But this first year, let's push all the chips in. Let's have everything we can think about. And if it's a reality show or a documentary, more cameras, whatever. I mean, let's just mix it all up. Let's have a party. Let's have a party.
I think it's all speculation too. Like again, I don't know what that's going to look like at all. What I know is it's going to be something that fans should be excited about, but I don't know exactly the ins and outs of it. I wasn't a part of putting that together, but we'll see. I think
one of the hosts, man.
Well,
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. So like
the fourth thing
we're gonna have next week, we'll have Woody on the show, and I think he could probably talk a little more about this reality show, and then I'm sure they have a better understanding what they do today or what they're willing to leak. But my understanding is, and Pablo kind of mentions this is about, being a reality show. The way I understand it is that the players that are going to have this chance or this opportunity are going to be players that have been scouted, right, by Thomas and Zorn and all those guys. It's just not like somebody coming in from the streets, right? It's going to be somebody that has potential, maybe like a Man U player that got injured.
So I'm not going to get my crack to play now. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, well, you can just walk right next door and say, Nick, it's either I get a chance at it or I'm going back to Houston, right? But yeah, so that's my understanding is like it is. So why it's the reality TV show and there's going to be like this sort of judging on it, if you will, and that sort of thing. It's still going to be players with decent caliber, right? It's not just going to be, I don't know, some kid off the street that thinks he's Messi and, can't even tie his boots, right? So, so that's the way I understand it. And, like I said, we're going to have Woody on next Wednesday. So hopefully he can talk more to that.
He can't, because Sean just told us he doesn't know shit about that. It's his second day. He doesn't have anything to do with it. It's a good question, but Sean's like, I don't know shit about that, man.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
No, it's just a lot of news that will come out and it kind of,
I know.
Everybody wants to talk shit when you're not from Charlotte, but you know what? Charlotte's coming, boys, and we're going to take this league by storm. And we're going to, anyways.
For the crown. For La Corona.
That's right. So John's pretty chatty in the chat, so appreciate you at least asking questions, John. I don't know what the rest of you guys are doing, if you're just watching or not. But do you have much sway in the merch? Because I agree with him, right? We get this crap from Fanatics. You wash it once and it's unwearable again. Personally, I would rather Adidas kind of run with it. But do you have any pull in anything like that?
To an extent, obviously, again, I'm working with everybody, so I'm voicing opinions, and that was already a topic of conversation for myself. Merch, and this is the part that I hope too that's two-sided, that I can bring fans' opinions and voices into our office, but I hope to likewise like educate our fans on some of the processes and why things are sometimes a certain way, like merch and dealing with vendors and all of that, like that's a challenge. And right now, I'm sure most people know, like post COVID, and we're not even post COVID, like that's still the world that we live in right now. Textiles, like fabrics, all of that is really, really tough. Getting things on time, having, again, especially just from my experience, because I oversaw everything in Norfolk, merch included, and I'm trying to get hats, working with every major brand, 47 brand, and your Zephyrs, your you name it, and they're all like struggling to get our orders in time, because that's, unfortunately, prices have gone up, things are a little bit slower, factories are shut down, so it's just a harder world right now to deal with things like that. But as far as like, and you don't always have 100% say in what things look like. Again, it's a partnership with some of those people. There's influence on both sides, and I hope to certainly have that voice and help and guide some of that. But right now, I'm sure, like we all know, we all want cool stuff. I want cool stuff. So I'm pushing for it, and so hopefully we can all get it in time, for the season.
Can you COVID?
COVID sucks for sure.
That's it. It sure does.
Almost 2 years now.
Do you know? I don't know if the Panthers do this or not, but when the jerseys do go on sale in December, like Victor was asking, it would be kind of cool if you could get the name there versus having to order it online and get it shipped, right? Do you know if they do anything like that at the store?
I don't know. Obviously, that's all stuff that's a little bit more logistical and stuff that I haven't gotten into for that. But
maybe put it on your list to bring it up.
Actually, that just made me think, Sean, logistically, if you're the chief fan officer, how are you going to input people before the game, whatever? How are you going to take all these ideas in? Because I mean, some of them, whatever, you got to take in what you can, but you can't sit there on your phone adding notes all the time.
Yep.
I mean, logistically, how are you going to input, especially on game day, information from the fans, ideas?
Yeah, so a little bit of it is going to be just my capacity to remember some of those. Obviously, particularly if I'm hearing stuff that's like groundbreaking and something that's very specific, I'll jot that down 100% in my phone. But a lot of times I may hear things that I'm hearing over and over and over again, which for me clearly signifies it's either a concern that a lot of people are having, which is a problem, or it's something that is really positive that a lot of people want, and so for me, like, yeah, it's not going to be. You're right, like JT, I'm not going to sit there and have like a pen and pad, and take it down. I'm not going to be a survey booth at the match. But a lot of what I'm going to be doing is obviously talking to fans and being aware in those moments. It's funny, like one of the things that happens when you work in professional sports is that going to a game, even if you're going to a game to relax, it's never the same. Like you're always looking at everything. It's the curse, so I'll go to, any game, whatever sport, and I'm sitting there looking at how things operate, what's on the scoreboard, why are they doing this, and so for me, that continues at our matches. So while I want to like party with our supporters, I'm also keeping an eye and ear open to watch everything to see what's going well, what can we do better, what am I hearing, what are people excited about, what can we do a little bit better. And I will be jotting those notes down on my phone. It's also the curse of having this thing glued to you 24/7.
I'm just imagining you like plucking a bobblehead on a bobblehead night, going, you're like, is that really the spring level? Is it bobbling enough? I don't know.
Yeah. So talking with the fans and that sort of thing, how do you think you're going to pull in the casual fan right into Charlotte? So if they're just out and they happen to be in an event and that sort of thing, what's your vision for that? Like how to bring in that casual fan?
Man, there's not. I wish there was one answer to that.
Right.
It's no silver bullet. It's doing a lot of little things. It's doing events. It's catering to different segments and different audiences. If you're talking, I mean, there's just so many breakdowns, and we've got a really intelligent staff, at this club. We've got folks that are just wizards at analyzing data and understanding our market, and they work with me too to help me see some of the, again, not the sexy stuff, data and numbers, but then it's understanding like what's our action. So there's a lot of soccer fans in Charlotte, and they may be pretty like casual about Charlotte FC right now, but they could be huge, avid soccer fans, soccer players. Not every soccer player cares about watching and going to soccer matches. So that's such a different audience now. So, making sure, because I play with a lot of guys that I'm asking, who's your club? And they don't have one. That's like, to me, playing the sport and not, it's weird, but I know I have a lot of friends that just play, but they don't care about watching it. And so, the way you approach that is going to be different, making sure we're out at fields, making sure we're building relationships there, for the EPL snob, like making sure we're finding a way to cater and break in there. Obviously then you've got your casual guy. I'm not dumb, like Carolina Panthers. That's the big show in town. And that's what people care, like stronghold, like football rich city. And so like, finding a way for us to tap into that, and just ultimately, we talk about this party that we want to create. my hope is that people give it just give it one chance and come out for whatever reason. And ultimately, like, you fall in love with that unique experience and they keep coming back.
Yeah.
We just gotta get them. We just gotta find that way for them to come out.
Yeah, I mean, if recently the best example I can think of that's done like create a good atmosphere that like also caters to the sport. There's one thing to create an atmosphere, but like I think it should also be because like, dude, I love this atmosphere and I love soccer. I mean, that's why like a lot of us, especially when you're foreign and you get thrown into soccer, like you become diehards of these teams because you're either born into it, like. And I think Austin does a really great job of doing that already, and just seeing how they operate, some of the things they're doing, even like the Selena Tifo that they did a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, man, that is so good, and that's a brilliant way of showing the Texas aspect of the MLS in your club.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's for us. I talk about it, something that's true to us. And that Selena Tifo, that's so true to Austin and Texas.
But now with like away days and that sort of thing, would you be the one that would help coordinate like, the travel if the fan wanted to go to the Austin, right? Or some sort of watch party or that sort of thing?
Yep.
All right. So if you want free tickets to the away games, just reach out to Sean.
That reminds me of question number 5 is when we finally are having the party before we march into the stadium, a first game, preseason, whatever it is, are you going to be in front of a lot of people with a megaphone? Are you going to be the Pied Piper? Are you going to be? Are you literally going to be the person standing there going, "Come on, everybody, let's go"?
So I'll be honest. I don't want to do that, and the reason why I say I don't want to is because I'm not trying to like take away any sort of spotlight. Like our that's our supporters. You know what I mean? Like that's I'm here to work with them. I'm not here to pretend like I'm the one coming up with all these ideas and it's my show. Like it's not. Like I do not want to be in the front at all. Like I'll march behind them for sure, and I'll be there to chant with them. But it's their show on game days for sure.
That's right. Well, we're coming up to an hour, Sean. So how can people get in contact with you? Like you said, right? If they got ideas, questions, concerns, that sort of thing. What's the best way to reach out to you?
So it's I mentioned my email. So chieffanoffcer@charlottefootballclub.com. I know it's going to be it's a lengthy one, so make sure you jot that down. You can find me on You can also shoot me a message, tweet at me. I'm on Twitter. I'm pretty active on there. So I've got a brand new Charlotte specific account where I will direct all my CLTFC tweets to that handle. That's Charlotte FC _CFO. Everything else nonsense wise, my stupid Lazio takes, my takes on like food and anything else non-CLTFC, that'll be at my personal account. So all CLTFC stuff, check it out at Charlotte FC _CFO.
There you go. And so a couple of housekeeping things, right? Before we let Top Ben talk about his tags and social media and all that fun stuff. So Mint City Collective is doing a fundraiser for breast cancer. If you guys donate and tag us, CLTFC Fan TV, in the picture on Twitter or wherever, just make sure that we see it. We'll put you in an entry to win 2 free tickets to the Mexico-Ecuador game. I believe Southbound and Crown are giving away some Hornets tickets for tomorrow night for the same cause. Check them out on Twitter. I think that's about it as far as housekeeping concerns, other than like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff for us. And then Jorge, man, go ahead and tell them how we can find you on the socials.
Yeah, man, you can find us at TopBin90 on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and our TikTok is Real Top Bin 90. Which, Sean, you boys need to get on TikTok, man. tell those guys out there, because there's a big crowd out there.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. Well, Sean, man, we appreciate your time, buddy. We're gonna let you at least try to have a couple of minutes with your wife before you pass out and start over again.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Am I going to be seeing you guys at the event tomorrow night for the USA Jamaica match?
I'm Honduran, man. I'm gonna go to Honduras bar and watch the Honduras game.
Cool. Yeah, that'll be the other thing I'll plug real quick. So tomorrow night at Protagonist South Bend Brewery, 7:30. If you want to come meet me in person, we're out there. We're going to be watching the U.S. World Cup qualifying match against Jamaica. Should be a great time.
Yeah, I'm on.
All right, guys. Well, y'all have a great night. Appreciate everybody that tuned in, asked the questions, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, Sean.